Today, we live in a world filled with technology, and there are many different innovators of these technologies, one of them being Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a world-renowned inventor that has created many different companies, from PayPal to SpaceX. These companies are quite extraordinary, and a majority of them are focused in transportation. I love transportation, and I find it really interesting how there are more than ever many different companies striving to advance transportation. And one of the best companies from Elon Musk, in my opinion, is the Boring Company. The Boring Company is a transportation company that Elon Musk has invented to revolutionize the way that tunneling is done. And this is going to create a whole new possibility for the way that we travel. And I think this is going to be really, really cool. So stay tuned for this video and you'll learn more about the Boring Company and why they've made some of the decisions that they've made to revolutionize the technology, from the technology behind the tunneling and how the drilling is done, to how they are designing the way that the supports are designed to allow for cars to pass through. So today we're going to be talking about the Boring Company. And the Boring Company is all about creating tunnels. And these tunnels that the Boring Company is creating is supposed to allow for transportation to happen a lot faster. So you'll take a car like this and allow it to transport a lot faster by using this multi-layered tunneling system. So currently the way that roads work is they are 2D. They are only a flat surface. And this doesn't allow for you to, for example, pass a car by going on top of them. This is quite interesting when you say it verbally. However, if I show you a demonstration here of how it works, there will be many different tunnels on different layers. And these tunnels will allow you, for example, to be driving in this lane. And this lane will be a tunnel, a certain layer underneath the soil. And that will allow you to travel in that tunnel, but let's say you want to exit. You can move in between these tunnels. So it almost be like an underground super 3D highway. And this is really interesting. And Elon Musk is planning to build these using these new tunneling systems. These new tunneling systems are allowing Elon Musk and the Boring Company to create tunnels a lot faster. The way they do this, it seems quite simple. However, it hasn't been done currently, and it is quite challenging to advance the technology in the tunneling industry. And the way this works is to create a drill that can simultaneously dig the hole over here while also placing supports over here. And this will allow the tunnel to be drilled at the same, like at a constant speed, where currently tunnels are being dug for a short period of time, and then they put up supports, do some logistics, and then continue. But having all of this process being done simultaneously can tremendously speed up the process. The Boring Company has also said that they are going to increase the speed of the drill by 3 times, and that'll make it a lot stronger, allow it to get through the dirt a lot faster. They also have changed the design of the drill head to allow for dirt removal to be a lot faster. These things are quite interesting, and they seem like basic things that any kind of tunneling company would want to fix. However, these are quite challenging. Elon Musk has only put out a prototype version where they've made a short 1 mile or 1 mile and a bit tunnel that they've made, I believe, in California. And this tunnel is quite interesting, and I believe there are people that have ridden in the tunnel using the Tesla Model X. And of course, going through a tunnel like this would require that you must have an electric car going through this tunnel area here. So I have a little demonstration here of how the tunnel is going to be operated. So you can download this file on Thingiverse. I'll have the Thingiverse file for this file that I designed in the description below. But you can, pretty much what I want to demonstrate here is how an electric car would travel through. And obviously this seems quite simple, but currently with tunneling technology, they have to create much larger holes to allow for large trucks to pass through this tunneling. And they also have to worry about how they're going to remove the carbon emissions from these diesel trucks traveling through the tunnel. And this is quite a big engineering challenge for these engineers developing these tunneling designs. So Elon Musk has designed that only electric vehicles will be able to travel through this tunnel, which will eliminate the hassle of creating a carbon emissions vacuum almost to suck out all those emissions and allow for oxygen to pass through the tunnel. The way that they have designed the tunnel is allow the car to be able to travel in the center, but allow for people to be able to walk and also for workers to do maintenance on the side. Obviously, it won't be a place for pedestrians to walk, but it'll allow you to do repairs while still allowing the highway to be functional. And what's really interesting about this is the fact that if you look at it at a cross section like this, you can see that the car only takes up, maybe this is obviously not to scale, but the car will take up maybe roughly 3/4 of the tunnel area. And this will allow for a lot more space along the sides, especially where this walkway is, allow for things like pipes, electricity to also be going through. But the Boring Companies also say that they don't just want to build tunnels for cars, but as they're reinventing the way that the tunneling is done, this is going to allow for them to create, for example, sewage tunnels to carry sewage or water or any kind of thing that must be transported. This will allow it to be kind of like a train system, an underground subway system, but allow for electric vehicles to travel through or just using a pump system for the water. This will allow the tunnels to be dug a lot faster. Hi guys, so today pretty much what I've built is the Boring Company tunnel, and I'm going to be walking through with you how the tunnel works and the model that I built. So come with me here. You can see here I took a PVC pipe and I put some cardboard in here and built a car that's going to run through the tunnel. This is going to be kind of like a similar mock-up and prototype to the way that the Boring Company did it. You can see inside the tunnel here the rails that I've made. So I also added some of my own designs that I think should be in the future Boring Company tunnels to allow electric charging rails for the electric vehicles traveling through the tunnel. The way this tunnel works is I connect a battery here to these two copper rails inside the tunnel. This one is the positive rail and this one is the negative rail. So that when the car drives through the tunnel, you can see these other copper pads here line up with these. So as it's going through the tunnel, it gets electrical conductivity, which allows the motor to spin, which therefore charges the car to go through the tunnel. In a similar way, when the electric vehicles go through the Boring Company tunnel, they will be charged by these rails in my design. In the standard design, the electric car goes through the tunnel like a superhighway. I wanted to build this model to kind of replicate the way that the Boring Company tunnel works, to truly understand how it works here. So you can see they have a base here, and they've dug this entire tunnel and put these supports in. This allows you to also run electronic components along the side, while also allowing the highway system to be done through the tunnel. This is really interesting, and the cars also have a very unique design as well. Elon Musk has said that with the additional car design, he proposes to have a system here where a piece of metal will come out from the bottom of the car and come out in front of the wheel. This will allow the front of the wheel to be guided so that you don't have to steer the car through this narrow tunnel. This is a very smart design because you can see as going through this is a very narrow tunnel here, and you can see there's quite a bit of space, but it's still hard to steer for the standard driver. So having these guiders will really allow the person in the tunnel driving the car to have a really nice experience. This is really cool, and I think that Elon Musk and the Boring Company are doing a really good job with this tunnel design, and I hope this goes into the future and allows for transportation to be a lot better. Now I've explained how it works, I'm going to show you how to build one. Here are the things you're going to need: a measuring tape, a pencil, an X-Acto knife, some cardboard, a glue gun, some yarn, if you'd like, and a ruler. The first thing you want to do is make sure that your pipe is at the right length. So depending on how long you want the pipe to be, you can change how long it is by just cutting it at certain points. The next step you want to do is to take your measuring tape and measure how long this pipe is. In my case, the pipe is 6 feet. So we're going to make sure that we have a piece of cardboard that's cut to 6 feet. The next step you want to do is to take your cardboard here and make sure that you make some lines here along the sides using a straight edge with your ruler to make the indent so that you can fold the cardboard and fit it in the tube. In my case, my pipe is 4 inches, so we're going to make it a little bit smaller than that, allowing the car to sit a little bit lower in the tunnel. So we're going to make it about 3.5 inches. The next step you're going to want to do is to take your X-Acto knife and cut along the lines that you've just made. You also want to make sure they don't cut all the way through because you're still going to need that paper on the bottom of the cardboard in order to bend it. So make sure you just cut through the main part of the cardboard but not the paper at the bottom. That way we can allow for an easy fold. The next step you want to do, and this is completely optional, is to take some copper tape and you can run some lines across here. The other option that you can do is to take something like a Hot Wheels car or any kind of toy car, tie a string on it, and that'll allow you to show the conductivity. For here, what I've done here is I've taken some copper tape and I'm going to lay it down on this strip here. This is going to allow these rails to be live with some battery. That way the car has electricity as it's going through the tunnel to generate a motor, so you don't have to pull with a string. This is completely optional, it's up to you. I found this, I believe, on Amazon, and you can purchase this copper tape that'll allow you to make the rails, but it's completely optional and it's completely up to you. So the way to do the copper tape, if you choose to do this, is to take the copper tape, roll it out, leave a little bit off each end on the sides here, and then you're going to cut the copper tape. I've already done this with my model, but if you choose to do this, just cut the copper tape. There's a little sticky peel in the back here. You can peel this off, and there's a sticky side on the copper tape that'll allow you to stick it down the cardboard. Although you do want to make sure that on the car, I'll go grab the card to show you that you line up these rails that you're going to have to build. So what you do is you take a piece of cardboard and you put a little bit of the copper tape down on here, solder on some wires that allow you to attach a motor to here to spin this little car here. This is completely optional. You can take any kind of car and use a string to attach onto the front here. I've decided to use this electrical copper tape and a motor, but it's completely optional. The next step is to take your cardboard here. You're going to want to make sure it has a nice fold. And then what you're going to do is make sure your pipe is lined up and slide the cardboard through the tube. So I'll show you how to do that now. So all you're going to do is, you can see I've already done this, but you will take the cardboard here, and all you have to do is just completely slide it through the tunnel. It is very simple. You just have to slide it through. Obviously make sure there are, you can see here, some bends in the cardboard, so you want to make sure that when you're putting it in, there is these folds here, otherwise it'll just bend like this, and you don't really want that going through the tunnel. So you want to make sure that there's a nice fold here. Once you have it all the way through the tunnel, what you'll do is you take a glue gun and you will glue these ends here. That'll allow you to have some structural rigidity here on this end and on the other end. Obviously you won't be able to go too far inside the tunnel, but it'll allow this to be quite structural there. The last and final step before you can run your car through the tunnel is to cut out a little piece of cardboard on each side to make sure that the tube does not roll around while you're working on it or as the car is going through. So I've just cut out some cardboard pieces here to hold the tube from rolling around. This keeps it nice and steady, and that way when the car goes through, it won't rock the tube back and forth. So I've done this, I've just glued it on with hot glue, and now it's completely secure. So now you're ready to take your car, put it on here, and slide it through the tunnel.